Day 2, Vita, what up? Today I'm going to do my March reading wrap-up video because March is over and I read. I'm a little disappointed in myself because I read 9 books in February, I think. I only read 4 in March. The first book is The Beast Within by Serena Valentino. I don't know if you can even see the title because it's this kind of like embossy black stuff. And it is the story of the Beauty and the Beast told from the Beast's perspective, and I really thought that it was kind of a neat idea. Probably about the first half I was really confused because I was like, are we doing like a non-Disney version of this or what's going on? I'm really confused because I thought that the servants weren't going to turn into like cups and candles and stuff, but it was kind of a more like grown-up intensified version of the Disney story of Beauty and the Beast. So I really enjoyed it. I see the Beast on this. If you take this off, it has the Prince version of the Beast. That's cool because it shows that like that's what's inside of him. Next, I read Redwall by Brian Jacques, or reread Redwall, I should say, because I was obsessed with these books when I was in elementary school, and this really got me into reading before Harry Potter even did, and this was like the first like big long whole thing that I read. I've decided I'm going to do a whole series reread of these. Well, first of all, they're about like woodland creatures and battles. There's a lot of like riddles and questing, and it's really fun. It definitely stands up to rereading as an adult, I think, and I've really enjoyed it. So then I also reread Mossflower, which is the second book. And finally, the last book that I read in March was Basketball on Paper by Dean Oliver. This book is amazing. I would recommend it to anyone who likes basketball and or statistics. Dean Oliver thoroughly analyzes the NBA by teams, by individuals, past NBA, present NBA, and more. It is very rare that you read a nonfiction book about statistics and find yourself laughing out loud while reading it. And that's what happened with this book. It is so well written, it's written in a very personable way, and the math is super sound, very well explained, very in-depth. The only thing I didn't like was later on in the book, he gets into very specific analysis of individual, like, famous past and present NBA players, and while I thought the analysis was interesting, I just didn't have the background information on those players to really understand how it applied, because I didn't know those players. So that was kind of annoying, but it wasn't any fault of his. It was just I didn't have the background for that particular part of the book, so I kind of skipped around a lot in the end. The best part of this book, though, by far, is that Dean Oliver, bless his statistician heart, doesn't forget about female athletes. While this book is focused on the NBA, and he says that from the beginning, that he's not focused on college and he's just focusing on the NBA because that's what he's most familiar with, he doesn't forget about the WNBA and the women. And he has a whole chapter about the women, and he mentions them throughout, and I love it. And he talks about how tragic it is that there is not as much data on female athletes as there is on male athletes, and so we aren't able to do as much of the analysis with them. And he talks about his efforts to collect more data on the WNBA, and I think it's fantastic and amazing, and I love him for it, and I loved that, and I was so happy to read those parts of the book. Tomorrow, probably a TBR video for April telling you what I'm gonna read this month, so look forward to that. Happy Vita Day 2!